and on better terms. Further, that the concessionaire gives preference to recruitment of Kenyan nationals in all positions. So I'm not giving two answers. The answer that I gave you about not knowing the percentage is when you asked me that Adani had proposed a percentage.
Yeah,
I
so
said
CS,
I didn't have
you're confirming as a CS for National Treasury, you have not read the proposal from Adani. You don't know what is in there.
You know, let me tell you, Chair, I really even don't need to read the proposal of Adani. Because
How can you say that, Honorable
Actually, the CS Treasury has very limited role. The only thing I am doing is to look at the procedure, how it is followed. And my directorate has looked into this matter, has found gray areas, including that issue of staff. And the committee, the PPP committee, has made a recommendation, which should be binding. Then what is the problem?
At the very least,
what is the problem?
Yes. My expectation.
If you want to go that direction, then there must be a public participation.
Forgive me, Honorable Mbadi, for holding you in very high regard. But you know why? There is no way somebody comes knocking at their door. You don't even find out what this person wants, what they are saying, who they are, where they've come from. At the very minimum, you must know what is contained in the proposal so that you are able to answer these questions. It is clear in that proposal from Adani that it is not everyone they intend to absorb. So you are saying what we should do. You are saying what we should do. We should push them so that they take everybody up. But at the very minimum, as a person responsible for your docket, you should know what they are asking for.
Yeah, and you said, Banasias, from that section D you have just read, that the JKIA employees will be onboarded on priority basis. You know that word, on priority basis? You know, they might not even have priority. But I don't know what it means.
Chair, let me remind this committee of the position that was taken by the CS for transport. You know, part of the problem we have been told about this Kenya Kwanza government is that there is no clarity in communication.
Broad-based government.
Kenya Kwanza. Kenya Kwanza government. Honorable Chair.
Chair, it's bread-based.
Stop distracting me. The CS for transport told us that as far as the employees for the airport are, and because you are not here, let me brief you. Mambo ni matatu. You will either take a contract with Adani or choose to remain with KA, but you cannot work at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. They can send you to Malindi. Or you quit and you take a package of, what is it called? A golden parachute package. So, Honorable CS Mbadi, this is why we were insisting that even though we know the oath of secrecy in the conversations at Cabinet, what we want is coherence in communication of government policy and the position. So which one are we supposed to take? The CS Treasury or the CS Transport?
And also the CS Transport told us that if we cancel this deal, we are not going to lose any money. But you mentioned we are going to lose money.
Yeah, where we are, there is no deal. What deal are we talking about? As far as I'm concerned, there is no deal. This is a process. And so there is nothing you are going to lose. You will just return the money.
Chair, which money?
Let me just put it.
With the public uproar, why don't you recommend to be cancelled? Leave it. Leave it. Walk away from it.
Let me just put this.
If it works or works like a duck, it's a duck.
Chair,
the smell is skunk.
Why are you rooting for Qatar?
No, I'm not saying I'm Qatar. No, Chair, can you withdraw?
Yeah, good question.
Get one even from Uganda. Get one from Uganda.
You can get one from Ethiopia.
Yes.
Let me put it this way. Chair,
this is the corruption we don't want.
Yeah, can I just?
We don't know even where Qatar is.
Can I just respond to this issue?
Let's have the CS. Let's have the CS.
And the PS withdraw that part of Qatar. Chair,
let the CS talk about the employees.
Can you withdraw first?
What?
For saying we are lobbying for Qatar. You didn't listen to
No, I almost asked the same question.
Yes.
So I almost asked that question because I don't know why we are throwing names here and others. So just give your response.
Chair, temperature has not rise. Let me come back to it. The issue of employees. There is no inconsistency, Chair. You cannot take all the employees of KAA to work if they don't want to work. That is why it is said they will be onboarded on priority basis. And then, if you look at this document we call heads of terms. It's very clear that during the interim management period, the JKIA employees will remain employed by the grantor. The concessionaire will make an offer to the existing employees on terms that are no less favorable to their existing terms of employment. In fact, this provision of the law...
Have you done some public hearings for you to say that?
Public hearing?
Public participation?
Do I address that? Yes. You know, Chair, I have said the committee recommended public engagement. It is in my response. It is a process that is ongoing now. Yeah?
Chair.
If it were not for the courts, the stoppage by the courts.
Excuse me, Chair. Employees of Kenya Airports Authority were forced to go and hold a meeting under gunpoint. Being told by his people to go and sign documents that they have attended the function.
That's the same way when the senators get agitated when you make wild allegations. Please.
They are not wild. We have the evidence. They can table affidavits in this committee. They are not wild. John Mbadi, I don't even have a child who works at the airport.
I also don't even have a child.
Your people being kicked out.
Senator Onyonka, calm down.
Chair, I doubt whether this country...
Calm down.
Chair, I wonder...
When you talk... No. It's because I have given everybody an opportunity. You cannot shout back at each other. I'm giving everybody an opportunity to express themselves. So can he finish? If you have an additional question, you ask. So,
people are being fired from work. Look at those workers. Go and see them when you're traveling.
Chair, point of order, Chair.
Can I have
sad what we are doing to this country.
Point of order, Chair.
Chair,
kindly invoke standing order 105.
Yes.
Please.
I'll get there. When you give your statement, it must be a statement of fact. I don't want you to use this committee to get video and viral clips so that you can supply them all over. What I'm trying to say... No. Chairman,
we elected you to be our chair. We want videos. That's what you always do. That's also what you do. Isn't that what you do? That's what you do when you are fighting Wamatangi.
I'm telling you.
Out of order.
We are not like you.
Senator
This
Onyonka.
is a national matter.
Senator Onyonka.
Not agree to be railroaded.
That chair.
Cannot
talk to us like that.
No, sir. This is not a TV interview.
Chair, being chair, some of us have been chair.
We cannot.
Chairman, you cannot say that.
No.
We have chaired.
If you disrespect,
we have chaired in this parliament
if you
Mbadi in the last
the chair,
just say so.
and I chaired a
if you disrespect, the chair, if you disrespect the chair, I'm going to invoke every other standing orders that will make sure that you align.
You can go ahead.
Let's have Omtata. Kindly, don't use this committee. To come.
No.
I have.
You cannot say that.
Because there's a deal coming.
What I'm saying
the deals which have made our country become ungovernable.
Let's have Senator Omtata.
Senator Omtata. Senator Omtata, with respect,
let's have
let me
Senator
say one thing to
Omtata.
the
No,
chair.
I'm the chair, not Omtata.
But chair.
Let's have Senator Omtata.
Chair.
I'll give you an opportunity.
Yeah, please.
I'll
Let's
give
not,
you an opportunity.
Let's not proceed in that fashion.
I've been giving you some
You also must
time.
respect the
Can I
members.
have Senator Omtata to ask his question?
Chair, you know it's impeachment season. Please don't joke around with us.
It doesn't matter.
We will impeach you.
I will stick within the standing orders. I will stick within the standing orders. Let's have Senator Omtata. Senator Omtata.
Yes, Honorable Chair, thank you for the opportunity. And I would want to begin by saying that Honorable Waziri, also thank you for giving us a well-paginated and arranged documents. I must appreciate that. It has been easy to follow your documents. I only wanted to refer you to Exhibit BB and CC. Those are drafts of the ALG reports, and if you look at Exhibit BB, it really has got no value. It just has an index, just a list of indexes. But when your brother, Honorable Chirchir, was here, he brought us final reports of that study. So I don't understand why you brought us drafts when your brother brought us final copies of the reports on which I had wanted to ask you questions, but you brought drafts that are not really applicable. So I would be asking, I've got two documents I would like to table here, which I would ask I think copies are with the clerk. There's a dispatch from the cabinet, that's issue number 8 of 2024, and there's an affidavit that was filed by Adani in High Court Judicial Review case number E199 of 2024. And I would like the minister, I'll refer the minister to that document. But before I get there, there's this letter that was given that came from the State Department of Transport, dated 1st March 2024. It's a small detail that is really disturbing me. The letter is dated 1st March 2024. It's coming from the Department of Transport. You have told us here that the KAA received a document. It went through the document, found it suitable, gave it to the department to forward here. Now, when you look at the Adani proposal, it is dated March 2024. This letter is dated 1st of March 2024. Did the KAA receive a document that had not been authored? Because I'm finding it extremely difficult, even assuming that the document is dated 1st of March, I'm finding it extremely difficult that a document dated March had moved from the Kenya Airports Authority, had been received there, had moved from the Kenya Airports Authority to the Department of Transport, and then it had been submitted to Treasury on the 1st of March by that letter. Either we are dealing with fiction or something is not adding up. So to clarify that, you say that upon presentation of the proposal, $50,000 US was paid. Can I have the receipt of that money so that I can confirm the day when Adani made the proposal? I've checked your documents, I don't see that receipt. I would like to be assured of the date.
Bonacieux, you have another question?
Yeah, no, I just want that to be clarified because that looks like fiction, so you'll clarify that. And as we go ahead, I would like to put to the CS that the requirement for due diligence is not in 2 stages. Section 25, Section 27, and Section 42, Clause 2 and Clause 3 have to be read together. You cannot have 2 reports of due diligence. It's your creation to try and justify an excess. There is no provision in the law for 2 stages of due diligence. The 2 sections have to be read together. Otherwise, I don't know what we shall be doing. So to me, it's only one due diligence that should be done from my reading of the law. The first one is general, as a general provision of due diligence, the one under 27. The one under 25, under 40, is specific, and it's just to make sure that you don't miss that within this particular process. So I don't see how you are reading the law to get that you can do 2 stages of due diligence. Another question that I have is on in this, when you look at the item you have brought in as the Adani, which is also what the proposal, that is exhibit under H and I. I would like to walk you through that document by the Adani group. And one of the questions is, I want you to show me where in that document Adani is giving Kenya even 1 cent and whether Adani is an agent of the government of Kenya or an investor, or whether Adani is a broker who is looking for investors, and whether we are walking the same route we walked to the SGR, where it proposed that it was going to head the money, then it said it was going to look for investors. Then at the end of the day, we ended up with something called government to government through the Exim Bank of China. So I want you to show me in this document that you brought where Adani is giving Kenya 1 cent. Forget about the billions you're talking about. Or whether Adani is presenting itself as an agent of the government of Kenya to put together a consortium of financiers. Also, as we go, I want to refer you to, I've looked at this document, I didn't have much time, I've looked at the document. I want to refer you to page 5 of the document, and you will see my concern there. That's the third paragraph, the last line of the third paragraph. It says, the proposed project will be financially financed by Adani airports to cover short, medium, and long-term goals through suitable debt and equity as highlighted in detail in this PIP. Now, when you begin going through the detail of the PIP, I think it's when you go to page 37, I got page 37. You look at that program called Section 7.3, the Special Purpose Vehicle. Under that flowchart, it written, Adani Airports intends to bring strategic/financial investors for proposed development of various aspects of JKA master plan, including terminal, airside, and landside. And it continues. When you go to paragraph 47, page 49, there's some, that's I think the first, second, third, the fourth paragraph is headed Robust EPC Contracting Process. Bullet 1, we would implement value for money initiative with engineering, procurement, and construction EPC contract. We would prioritize reputable contractors with a track record in large infrastructure construction. We would tie payments to milestones and project completion, ensuring accountability. So, we're talking of other contractors whom Adani will bring in. When you got the second bullet is equally important, but for time I'll read the third bullet. Strong supplier-contractor relationships in the realm of airport development. Our contracting process stands as a testament to our commitment to excellence. We meticulously engage with major contractors renowned for their expertise in large-scale airport infrastructure projects. Our approach prioritizes partnerships with reputable contractors, ensuring seamless collaboration and exceptional project outcomes. Payments are tied to project milestones and staff. We are repeating that. When you go to the next page, robust capital management, that's point 3 on page 50. They talk of we propose to negotiate favorable terms with lenders, including interest rates and repayment schedules, and leverage the airport revenue potential to source competitive financing terms. Next bullet, we propose to explore different financing options, including loans, bonds, etc., and consider the cost, terms, and flexibility of each financing method. We propose to structure debt in a way that aligns JKA, whatever. So when you look at this, you say, and there are many other places. So is Adani investing in Kenya, or is Adani doing a brokerage service for the Republic of Kenya? I would like to be enlightened on that. When you go to page 56, you look at something called direct agreement substitution. It says GOK, that's Government of Kenya, to enter into direct stroke substitution agreement with the lenders. Then they require land for free of encumbrance and what have you. You will 56, and as we walk through, you look at something very interesting. On page 57, they are talking of change of laws. GOK to enact or amend the existing Kenyan laws to the extent required for fulfillment of the terms of concession agreement to make the project bankable and ensuring the commitments made to the investor are met. So we are required to change our law to conform to the investor, or whatever that means. So I'd want you to explain to me what that means. And as we go through, I want to point you out to another issue that I found disturbing. There is KAA on page 56. KAA to issue sublease to concessionaire of land for the purpose of development of commercial real estate. What has a commercial real estate to do with a construction of an airport? And then, of course, the next one also talks about transferring those licenses. So when you come to the work visa, it says Government of Kenya to assist to arrange work visa for skilled expatriate required for the execution and operation of the maintenance of the air project. And that is tied to another place whereby they have talked of the issue of employment which was coming up, whereby they clearly indicate that they are going to come in with their own workers. That's on page 59, paragraph 6. They talk about they will offer employment to mutually agreed percentage of present KA employees. They are not taking all of them. There will be a mutually agreed percentage, terms and conditions recorded, and the concessionaire may employ itself or on secondment or contract basis non-Kenyan employees. It's clearly stated there. If you look at number 9 again on page 60, GOK to enter into direct substitution agreement with lenders. And now these documents you did not bring, the one that the Minister Churchill brought us, and which is in the record of you brought us drafts by the Minister Churchill, brought us complete documents. If you look at the document that was titled, dated 13 December, that is the ALG Global Infrastructure Advisors, whatever, agreement with the KAA, you find their terms of reference are given. And then when you go to the report, the final report, you gave us a draft final report for KAA review, February 16th, 2024. You brought us the draft. This is the final report. If you look at page 21, it gives the scope of what the project has done and how it have gone around this thing. But of interest in this particular project is page 28. He says, well, there is a unique development plan, that financial assessment. Well, there is a unique development plan for JKA. 2 scenarios were evaluated as per the government request. Airport PPP and the terminals PPP. So it goes on. First of all, it tells you that there is a development plan for the airport. And that brings me the question, what is Adani initiating when the government has got plans to develop the airport? What is Adani initiating? What is privately initiated in a going concern? where is the initiation by Adani? Then as I proceed, Chairman, just some minutes. When you go to page 30 of the document, key regulatory issues, legal, regulatory, and contractual due diligence, says procurement. This is the analyst now saying on procurement method. On procurement, it says the regulatory framework applicable to PPPs in Kenya is generally clear and provides for sufficient flexibility in order to organize an open tender process compliant with the best international practices, brackets, which is the procurement method by default under the PPP regulations, and is our recommended approach. The preferred tender process is to be confirmed with the KAA and the government. So the evaluator is recommending an open tender system to identify the procurement. And then the last issue is about the Director General. The Director General, from the information I have, I did some search on him, and the information I got is that he had been appointed as the Deputy Head of Mission in Washington, D.C. What is he still doing here, and what is he gatekeeping for? Why has he not gone to his new appointment? Or has that appointment been cancelled? Number two, when you look at...
Senator, summarize so that...
Yes, I'm summarizing.
Be able to answer.
I'm summarizing. You know, he brought a lot of documents in a short time. So, I would like to refer to ask the Director General, did the Evaluation Committee conduct a mandatory market testing prior to deciding the suitable procurement method? Because you are required to procure the market trade. So did you do a market testing? And what is involved in a market testing that is required under PIP? Then you got the heads of terms, which are essentially negotiated aspects of the PPP transaction. They have already been signed. When you look at that document, there are signatures of two people on every page. They have actually signed. I wouldn't expect to have signatures on a draft document. They have actually signed. What does that mean? And then when you come further to, there's already a company that's privately, that has already been incorporated. And that is that affidavit I've given you. If you look at paragraph 9, the Adani group acknowledges that they have incorporated a company to deal with this program. And you know that under section 68, that company can only be incorporated after the agreement has been signed. So if you're having a company and you're telling us the agreement has not been signed, are you operating outside the law, or are you operating within the law? Look at paragraph 9 of that affidavit and what it says. Finally, I would like, and the company is known as Infrastructure PLC. I've given, at the end of that document that you have been supplied, at the back is the CR12 for the company. It indicates who the directors are. We have done that due diligence and been able to extract this from the Registrar of Companies. So the company exists. So you cannot tell us, Your Honor, that the contract has not been signed when the procedure in law says that such a company is only incorporated after the contract agreement has been signed. Now, the very last issue, under Section 68 requires that. The very last issue is the question of the dispatch from the cabinet. When you look at the dispatch from the cabinet, you'll find that it says that you need to conduct due diligence on this company. When I did some desktop research, I came across the case that is given on the third page. It was a case where this company, on the document I've circulated, where this company was accused of misconduct in India, And if you look at the conclusion on page 46 or 46 of that judgment, an order is given which reads, now therefore, and this is available on the desktop, I just searched on the internet. Now therefore, I, in exercise of the power conferred upon me under section 11 and 11B, read with section 19 of the SEBI Act 1992, further read with SEBI, Prohibition of Fraudulent and Unfair Trade Practice Relating to Securities Market, Regulations 2003, hereby restrain the promoters of Adani, viz. Adani Agro Private Limited, Adani Impex Private Limited, Crown International, Shahi Property Developers Limited, Adani Properties Private Limited, Advanced Exports, Intercontinental India, from accessing the securities market either directly or indirectly, and also prohibit them from buying, selling, or otherwise dealing in securities in any manner whatsoever for a period of 2 years. There is that conviction, therefore, corrupt conduct. So, and it's dated 25th May 2025. Finally, if you look at the cabinet paper, I want to ask, how is the PPP sitting with the Kenyan, the policy of the Kenya government? If you look at another cabinet paper on page, it's page 104, look at page 3. It starts with to strengthen the aviation and to further cement Nairobi's position as an aviation hub, the aviation sector to Kenya's growth by enhancing connectivity at both the national and international levels. Cabinet noted that the aviation ecosystem in Kenya is robust, but pointed out that it was imperative to enhance the capacity of Kenya's international airports to meet the existing and projected demand, which is estimated to rise to 42.1 million passengers a year by the year 2050. Cabinet also considered and approved Jomo Kenyatta International Medium-Term Investment Plan that includes the upgrade of the passenger terminal, runway, taxiway, apron, and airslide facilities in keeping with the global aviation trends. Now, when you look at what the cabinet approved, and this thing is dated 11th of June 2024. That's after the Adani proposal had come. You realize that the Adani proposal is totally outside the national policy in what it is proposing to do at Jomo Kenyatta. So how do you reconcile that? And if you look at section 25.2 of the Act, section 25.2 of the Act, under the national agenda, only one new terminal at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport with an additional capacity of 20 million passengers and upgrading that to a permanent facility was planned. So, how do you meet the requirements in Article Section 25 of the PPP Act, which requires that the proposal must be, the PPP proposal must be aligned with the national policy? When you see very clearly that the policy the Cabinet approved on 11th June, after Adani had submitted their proposal, is totally smaller than what is in the proposal of Adani. So is Adani a government on its own, or is Adani going to obey the government of Kenya and what the government of Kenya has projected for Jomo Kenyatta? And are we really dealing with the PIP in these circumstances, or are we dealing with something else? So those are my questions to the minister, and the time was too short for us to interrogate this for me to interrogate these documents at a deeper level. That's what I was able to do in the 15 minutes the chair gave us, and maybe I may not have been very clear in what I'm trying to say, but those are the anomalies I would like the minister to clarify so that we can see if we can move ahead, and also why this thing cannot be stopped when the section he gave us, I think it was section 43.11 what, whereby you are required, if the thing is Ibonoko, you are required to call it off, and why you cannot call it off, given that a review by this committee is basically pointing to a situation whereby you are dealing with a fraud.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Senator, thank you very much. That's, you did your own research within the 15 minutes. That's very impressive. But as yes, you have the opportunity.
Chair, the issues raised by Honorable Mutata, a mouthful. I don't know whether it would be practical to answer all of them, but what I'll do is I'll answer the general ones and leave the specific ones to Chris Kirigwa, the DG of the Directorate, to address. Let me start by addressing, and I understand the frustration of members, Chair. Frustration of members is coming about because this process is still ongoing. If this process probably could have been complete, a lot of the issues being raised now would be answered with, would get definite answers. But let me try to answer. On the issue of...
I would like to reject that approach because the law is very clear that the PPP proposal comes as a complete package. There are no stages for anything else. Just look at look at Section 40. The document is supposed to be so comprehensive. So we are trying to lead us outside the law when the law is very clear that the proponent, because it is somebody proposing, he's saying he has got the money, he wants to do something for you, so that he wants to grow his capital as you also benefit. So he cannot come with a system whereby, again, the government is investing in it and doing all that. We look at the proposal he has given us, and it's a single proposal, and the structures in the law are very clear. So my brother Mbadi, I think, you are taking us to the law as it ought to be, the way Honorable Sfuna said, and not the law as it is. A PPP comes as a complete package under Section 40. It has to be comprehensive.
And you see, right. I was referring to the process. PIP proposal is the beginning of the process. So the process is still ongoing as we speak. And that is why we are even here to discuss whether it has been complied with in terms of evaluation and assessment. On 1st March 2024, we got a letter from the Line State Department of Transport forwarding the PIP proposal by Adani, which was received by KAA. That proposal is dated March. I would have only had issues if we received it on March 1st and it was dated April or May or any other date. Since the date was not in the document and it was indicated March, we can only conclude, or the Directorate could only conclude that it was done on 1st of March, and then the forwarding was also done the same day. On due diligence, I want to persuade the Senator to see it, Senator Mutata, I know he is entitled to his own interpretation, but I want to persuade him to agree with me that there are two due diligence that have to be conducted. The first one is under Section 41, and it says that the Directorate, in coordination with the contracting authority, shall, before commencing an evaluation of a privately initiated proposal, conduct due diligence, confirm that the private party has complied to, and there are 5 items there. So that is a due diligence. The other one, which I also treated as due diligence, is actually not Section 25, but Section 27. Section 27 says that a contracting authority intending to enter into a project agreement, now it is talking about the agreement with a private party, shall, before the execution of project agreement, confirm that the private party has A, the financial capacity, B, the relevant experience, C, the relevant expertise, which now includes where you are going to, and you talked about another contractor being brought in. Those are supposed to be evaluated at this stage of Section 27, and then satisfied that legal, social, and environment due diligence parameters prescribed by the Directorate are complied with. So this is what I was calling another due diligence, which is presently supposed to be conducted, why it not for court case. Now, on the issue of Adani Group and payment, as far as I'm concerned, there is concession fees, which I think was supposed to be negotiated. It's in the report, negotiation report, and a figure of 50 million USD per year is mentioned. And I think that's much more than now what KAA is making. Now, on strategic investors...
Maybe just clarify, that 50, that was it from operations, or was it money being brought in to be invested? My concern was where in that document is Adani bringing money into the Kenyan economy.
You see, Chair, unless maybe I'm not getting Honorable Mtata's question, what I was addressing is what are we going to get once this project is executed? Every year there's an annual concession fee. But now
I'm not talking about paying running of the airport, splitting what is earned. I'm saying as an investor coming in, not operating our airport, but as an investor coming in, what is Adani and where in this proposal is Adani bringing in money into the Kenyan economy?
Mr. Chairman, and I will allow Chris to now take the rest of the questions. What is the equity component that Adani is bringing? 300 million USD. What is the loan component? 700 million USD. So those are the figures that I have. Now, I would allow, because there are some specific issues that were brought out by Senator Mutata. I want Chris Grigor just quickly, I know there are too many, but just quickly run through the issues. And by the way, Chair, I just wanted to mention for record that I took this issue very seriously. That's why I compiled heaps of documents which you are to ask for 20 minutes to understand or read and acquaint yourselves with. I gave it my best, so if there is any idea that we didn't take this was seriously, I think it's not right, it's not correct.
Okay, well noted. Banadiji.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, CS. I'll start with the last one so we can flow along. Yes, the CS has indicated the equity component on this transaction was 300 million from Adani, and they were coming in with a debt component, which is on their balance sheet, not on Kenya government balance sheet, on the transaction. In the various phases of the transaction, we are also going to invest further through internal generated cash flows. Allow me, Chair, to tie in something else about the 18% with this money. What Adani was supposed to collect if this transaction was to conclude, is on the $300 million equity, they were only going to get, initially they requested for 18%, that was negotiated downwards to 16% on the transaction. Anything above that, the debt portion was going to be charged like to like to the users of the facility. So they were not going to make anything above that. And the 18% that they initially asked for was not going to last over and above the concession period. It was only going to be there for the 30 years, and immediately the concession is completed, they exit. They have no further carry on after the concession.
Mr. DG, the document is paginated. Can you point me to the page where that equity is and where those figures are in the proposal?
Through the chair allowance, I'll get you the exact location of where you get that amount. I'll share it with you just now. My technical team will put it together. Give me a few minutes. In terms of just going back to what Waziri said, currently KAA makes approximately $45 million per annum. At the head of terms, the agreement was that the KAA stated that they require a minimum of $50 million per annum to continue with their operations. This is going to be paid as a net amount to KAA by Adani Group. And after every 5 years, there's going to be an escalation of this $50 million. Anything Adani makes above the 18% equity on the return of equity of the 300 million, the 16% of the 300 million, anything above that was going to come in to Kenya government. I'll go now back to the initial questions through the chair.
All right.
Chair, I'd like to start on the matter of...
Yeah, he has not shown me where in the document money is coming into Kenya. That's the question I'm asking.
He was to answer.
Time. He's going to check.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, he first of all answers the questions, and then he's going to give you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chair. I apologize for that. We're actually going to share that with you. Chair, there were a couple of questions about the due diligence, about the Hindenburg report, and the Swiss authorities' outcome. The Swiss report came out on 13th of September, which was just last week. Yeah? We did see the report. However, the process has been altered due to the court process. So the process, we're not doing any further due diligence as we speak, as Waziri had indicated. Yes, we saw the Hindenburg report. However, the Hindenburg report, the further due diligence was going to capture any findings which were going to either allow us to proceed or stop the transaction. So that due diligence was going to be taken care of in the detailed due diligence that CS has touched on. I'll say CS has touched on heavily on the staff. I don't think I need to touch on that. I've touched on the 16% and the 30-year. Konza, the Konza airport development, Chair, I do confirm we have not seen and we're not in sight of that. Dubai involvement, there were comments made by some members about Dubai involvement. I confirm not to have engaged with Adani in Dubai. Neither have the only period we've engaged on Adani on this matter was 100% on the JKI transaction, and those discussions have been held here in Kenya. Chair, in terms of also just to clarify to the committee, I have never traveled to India on a matter of JKIA. I have traveled to India on other matters, but no meeting on JKIA. Chair, the matter that about insider trading of Adani, I confirm I am not aware about any insider trading of Adani.
Well, I've attached the judgment to make you aware. And just like maybe final through the chair, on the document I shared, the document I submitted, the fourth page of that bundle, the bundle about the cabinet, dispatch from the cabinet, there's a next there. Number 14 airports operating under PPI in the country. And it's instructive that we have got Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Jaipur, Thiruvananthapuram, Guwahati, Lucknow, and...
Where are you reading, Senator? Where?
On this document I brought. If you look at the extract I've highlighted in there, they will see those airports. There are factors there, but these are the airports under Adani. If you read the document, I'm just summarizing it. If you read that document, it shows that all those airports are making losses. So when you talk of Adani coming to make profit in Kenya, I don't know what informs that. Because the airports are running in India, from a study from the Indian Civil Aviation, it has listed those airports as making losses. And this is a document I downloaded from the Civil Aviation website of India. So I don't know how, when you talk of Adani coming to make profit in Kenya, what informs those kind of statements or those kind of expectations?
Chair, thank you, Chair and Honorable Omotata. I'd like to confirm this, Honorable Senator. I am not indicating that Adani will make any profits in Kenya. I'm not given that indication, and I'd like to confirm that. What we did as a directorate, we received the PIP. And when we received the PIP, we did process it. But allow me just to go through the full sequence, Honorable, through the Chair. You'll get more details. I've taken a number of your questions once Waziri has not cited.
And finally, you are standing. You are supposed to be in Washington. What are you doing here?
I will answer. It's part of the things. I have not.
All right, got a lot of summarize. You know, the sugar levels are going down.
I understand. I understand. I'll go very fast.
Because it's 7 p.m.
I'll go very fast. In terms of the SPV, what we've picked up was just recently registered on 30th of August. We are not aware about that as a directorate or either the evaluation committee. I can confirm from the Treasury. We're not aware of that. That SPV, that was the one you cited. In terms of change of laws, yes, they had requested for change of laws, but we indicated to them during the negotiation that that was not acceptable. We cannot predict that the government will change a law due to a transaction. So that was clearly indicated to them. On the land lease also, it was indicated to them that that will need to be managed separately between Kenya Airports Authority and Adani. That was not part of this transaction. It was out of scope. Waziri has touched very well on the employment. I will not touch on that. In terms of the legal provisions about PIP and competitive, certainly, I will make this statement, a competitive process always gets a better outcome. But not always, but most of the chances gets a better outcome. Yeah? We have faced a competitive transaction that went through the PPP transaction and became completely unaffordable, which is the Nakuru-Mau Summit Road. That transaction was actually cancelled, not by the contracting authority, by us at the Treasury, where we saw that the cost to use 175 kilometers on a small car was going to be 1,500 shillings, and we stopped it. We shared the advice based on affordability and value for money. So in terms of which obviously would a preference would be competitive, but also it's whereby we also monitor the components of the project to ensure we get value for money for the transaction.
I think DG on the Nakuru-Mau Road, I think we don't have the data, and we don't know that you did due diligence when you are doing the procurement, so you may not be able to use it as a standard to gauge the viability of competitive bidding versus PIP. The question about this PIP is this a PIP? What is being initiated?
Yes. This is a PIP. Confirm that. Honorable Chair, the Honorable Senators asked me about my appointment as Deputy Ambassador in the US. Yes, I was appointed. We've not finalized in terms of my terms. I was appointed in Treasury in 2020 December, and I was appointed as the Deputy Head of Mission in Washington, D.C. in March of this year. And since then, a lot of discussions have been ongoing, and I've not yet formally accepted my appointment. And the reason for this is purely because the terms which are presented do not match my existing terms.
Have you rejected the appointment?
I am hoping they will fix my terms, Honorable Senator. There's a letter that went out to them. I think it was 2 weeks ago.
I think that's okay. The last, you have a minute?
Yes, I'll finish. Thank you. I'll finish within a minute. Market testing, in terms of, did we conduct a market testing on this transaction? The answer is no, but we know from market that there's a significant market interest for airport PPPs. A number of parties, including banks, development finance institutions, have come to us and indicated that there's a lot of interest in JKIA. And also following the letter that we received from the State Department, they had also received quite a bit of interest on JKIA. A market testing is conducted through a market survey, yeah, either by visiting potential proponents or potential investors. We didn't do that. The PIP initials on the heads of the initials document you're talking about, it's the heads of terms. Yes, that is not a binding document, but it's initialed by both KAA and Adani. Okay. I think I'm on the last one. Yes, the aviation policy, yes, it was approved in 11th June 2024. We confirmed that. However, the process of Adani PIP was still ongoing. Finally, to form two final submissions, with your permission, Chair, very final submissions. For any PPP project to work, you need to do a detailed feasibility study, and the contracting authority needs to spearhead that from the onset. Yeah? And that's why, if you look at part of the submissions we had indicated when we showed the different procurement methods that are available for an airport concession, the letter dated 9th September, which is on your folder, indicated to KAA all procurement methods available and what they need to do to undertake those procurement methods. Chair, with your permission, lastly, there's some comments which have been made, and I'll talk about it, which is own self. I'm a career professional banker, came into government to provide public service. I have done a number of project finance transactions, syndicated loans, and I have not benefited on a personal capacity on this matter. I submit.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator Chute, I think you're the last one, so that we can come to a conclusion.
Chair, thank you very much. I know you're all tired, and I want to have a few questions, and straightforward questions. And Chair, the behavior of our fellow senators earlier was not good at all. And they wanted to ask many questions. We were here. We also wanted to ask some questions, very specific ones, and we couldn't get an opportunity. Having said that, Bwana Chair, I want to first of all congratulate the CS for the good work he's doing. And I know he's been doing well for this country as also minority leader and also as CPAC chair. Chair, I just want to tell the CS Finance, there is the issue of infrastructure bond or floating some shares to Kenyans. I want him to look at that opportunity, if that can work, because he's been fighting for Kenyans for many, many years. And since he's now at the helm of the Treasury, I want him to go back and rethink of how, even a proposal, if he can also have a parallel program to look into those things. Why am I saying this? I have a lot of connections with Ethiopia because of the border in Moyale. In Ethiopia, when they upgraded their airport, they borrowed 500 million from Exim Bank of China. And you've seen what the airport is. They are now managing about 22 million passengers every year. And again, they've now started a program for about 45 kilometers from Bole airport to host 100 million capacity a year. And that will cost them $6 billion US. And they are looking for funds. I know our Treasury CS can talk to his counterpart there and ask him, how did they manage to borrow money? And if I may add, there is Gilgibe Dam, huge dam. The government there sold some shares, even to Kenyans, Ethiopians and even Kenyans, and they've almost completed the dam. And that, if that can be managed, let him start a parallel program. The other issue, Chair, there is the issue of ALG. There was a transaction, that is a transactional advisor. They were procured in 2022. I don't know if the CS is aware. If you're not aware, you can check. They did some work on JKIA, on the request of the Treasury. And again, KIA also, or JKIA also, procured the same group. I want to know from the CS if they were procured under what circumstances. Is it a competitive bidding, or what process was used? And on the same issue, this contract is supposed to take how long? The same contract, both for the Treasury and JKIA, and terms of reference. And on the ALG also, I would want our friend Chris to tell us, they withdrew on 17th of July. Why did they withdraw? And if there are any correspondences on why they withdrew. The other issue raised by Senator Omtata on the issue of Chris being appointed head of mission in Washington. Bwana CS, there is a letter from LSK asking questions about Chris, why he has not reported to Washington. And is he earning salary as appointee of head of mission in Washington.
You're done?
No, just one. Finally, on Chris again, there was a meeting discussing on how to negotiate the issue, the matter between JKIA and Adani. And I wanted to know if that kind of a meeting was there, how many meetings you've had, whether Chris was there, and if he was there as under what capacity, and if he can be given those minutes. Thank you very much, Chair.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, Chair, thank you. I will respond to most of them and leave a few to Chris. And I want to thank Senator Chute for what he has just observed. Chair, I want to, with all due respect, again repeat that I respect and take the work of the Senate very seriously. Probably, maybe my absence in the Senate last week gave a wrong impression, but that one, when I appear before this plenary, I will be able to explain. Maybe my former colleagues thought that that was out of not regarding the work of the Senate seriously, and probably interfered a bit with this meeting to some extent, but I will explain that when I come before the plenary. I want to just respond to a few issues. Number one is the senators clearly stated that if we could consider and maybe work on issuance of infrastructure bond, which is a very good method of financing or getting funds to finance our infrastructure. Unfortunately, Chair, where we are, the fiscal space is not there. Actually, our debt to GDP ratio is at 67% plus, and yet it should be no more than 55. In fact, we have committed that by 2028, we should lower the debt to GDP ratio to 55%. So taking a huge project of this magnitude on any kind of borrowing is not sustainable in our fiscal space. That is the reason why now we have to look for other off-balance sheet methods like PPP to get our airport done.
Yeah, I talked about floating chairs also, floating shares.
Floating shares. Yeah, I think, okay, well, that should be considered. Now, on joint venture, I want also to mention that, yes, it is true that Ethiopia is doing very well in the region. And that is why one of the reasons I want to plead, whatever we do as a country, whatever we say, it is important that we develop JKIA to meet the standards. Otherwise, we'll lose the regional hub that we have been. Actually, we have started losing to Ethiopia, and it's not good. We will even lose to Rwanda very soon. So it is important that no matter what we do as a country, there must be some motion towards ensuring that we develop JKIA. We cannot continue with business as usual. On ALG, procured twice. It's true. It was procured in 2022, but that time it was supposed to help us do aviation policy, to work on the aviation policy, and it was competitively done through the National Treasury.
Point of order.
Yes.
Bonasias, I have a report that says that they were given two things to do, on the issue of aviation and also JKIA. I have even copies of the documents.
Yeah, so it was about the investment plan and also JKIA. But now the last one, which is 23-24, was direct to KAA. And this was procured by KAA to do feasibility study. And this was a direct procurement. As to whether it was done correctly, I think that's something we can interrogate.
Again, Chair, I asked about Treasury also in 2022. Was it procured a direct procurement or a normal process has been taken?
The 2022 one was competitive. That's the information.
Yeah, can we get
competitively done? We can get that information, but the information I have is that it was done competitively. Now, on Chris going to Washington and whether the CS, National Treasury, is aware, whether probably is earning 2 salaries, I would say this, that as National Treasury, which has hired Chris through PSC, until we get a resignation letter that she has taken up another appointment, and she is offering service to the government of Kenya and the people of Kenya as the director of the Directorate of PPP, we have no reason to stop paying him. But I can confirm that he's not earning a salary as the deputy head of mission to Washington, meaning he hasn't taken up this appointment. The time he takes up the appointment, I am sure he will submit the resignation letter, because the law does not allow you to be employed by the same government twice. On the other case of Chris, I think he will now address that, and if there is anything I've left out.
There is the issue of LSK letter. If you are aware, fine. If you are not, if you can check with your predecessor.
Yes. Yeah, the LSK letter about the employment of Chris.
Yes, why he has not gone to Washington?
But you see, Chair, I don't know whether I would push my employee to take up another assignment if he doesn't want to. If he hasn't resigned, I would be comfortable if he stays behind and help me work, because I have not got a replacement. But it would be illegal if he takes up 2 appointments. I mean, if he fails to notify or resign and still continue.
CS, we are in a broad-based government now. If he has rejected that offer, somebody from your area can be.
Anyway, I would want, maybe the only point I would make is that Chris should finalize negotiation quickly with the appointing authority regarding his terms, so that another Kenyan, because Kenyans are complaining of unemployment. I think he should not take inordinately too long to make up his mind. But that I would make as a general comment. In terms of procedure, what I have is that is my employee, is my staff at the National Treasury, and he hasn't absented himself without any permission. So he's offering 100% service to the National Treasury in the Directorate. Thank you. Chris.
Thank you, Waziri. Thank you, Chair and Member. Waziri, to touch on, I'll start with the last question that was asked about the negotiation process. As Waziri said, I'm still a National Treasury employee. I attended the negotiation. Actually, there are 3 stages of interactions on this, which was the first stage was a PIP submission stage. When the PIP was submitted, there was a technical team that sat in between JKIA, the National Treasury, which is represented by the PPP Directorate, and also the State Department of Transport. That the meeting took place to evaluate that submission from Adani, and immediately that was the evaluation team submitted. They sent it back to the Directorate through KAA, and we submitted it to the PPP Committee for approval. I interacted on this matter when it came to the Directorate, not during the evaluation. The second stage is a project development phase, when the feasibility study is submitted to the National Treasury by the contracting authority. The contracting authority receives a feasibility report from the proponent, which is Adani. They did receive it. They did submit it to the PPP Directorate. We did set up another evaluation, the same evaluation team, who sat in to evaluate that proposal. That did take place. I was not part of that evaluation, and that was submitted to the PPP Committee, which I'm a member of, and it was approved to go to the next stage. Lastly is during the negotiation. Then at the negotiation stage, this is whereby we had a raw document, not a really raw, it was a better improved document from the first submissions that Adani gave, because they had done an on-ground feasibility. I did take place on the negotiations of that feasibility during the negotiation session. We did that together with KAA, the State Department of Transport, and there were also other state departments that were invited for this, including State Department of Transport, the Attorney General's Office, and also, I believe, Kenya Civil Aviation Authority was also invited for those sessions. Lastly, I confirm what my Waziri has said. I do not receive two salaries. I only receive one salary, and I'm here to serve the country. Thank you.
Chair, there is a question they've not answered on the ALG advisors. They quit on 17th of July. Why? And do you have any correspondence if you have a copy?
You're absolutely right, Honorable Chair. Through the Chair, Honorable Member. Senator, they did quit. What happened is we're having an engagement with ALG, and ALG mentioned to Kenya Airports Authority and gave them some reasons. We never received any communication, the formal communication from ALG. We had requested for it from KAA. We've never seen it to date. And I can confirm this. We were not party. We were not party of contracting ALG. We were only